Welcome to a new edition of the Famous Interviews with Joe Dimino. On this episode, we talk with freelance success specialist Tricia Harrison. These days, she is an ambitious island queen from the tiny island of Barbados. She is passionate about remote work, success, wealth building, and online businesses. For the last 12 years, she has been navigating the digital workspace while experiencing the full spectrum of emotions, from the rough to the sweet, the exciting to the difficult, and the challenging. Through this journey, she gathered invaluable lessons and insights. She is now passing them along to her clients. Enjoy this story. Well, I'm in the middle of America. I'm in Kansas City, Missouri. And again, it's great to meet you. Thank you for taking a minute out today. And I would like to begin our conversation with 4 years ago, the pandemic began. No one really knew how long it was going to last, what was going to happen. Every part of the globe had a different response. So I'm curious, how did you get through that time period and how did it change you?
Well, to be honest, the dealing with the pandemic in terms of professional wise, like work wise, it wasn't too bad. I had a few struggles, yes, because that's when I turned to working remotely 100%, but it wasn't as bad as how it affected some or most people across the globe. Personally, like mental health wise and stuff, it was really straining. And because at the time, my son was just about to turn one. He was in the phase of going on to being one, and he missed out on a lot in terms of development, being like we weren't able to go outside, and he's an only child, so he didn't really have another person or a young person like him, a young child like him, to really play and socialize with. So it affected us in that aspect as well. But otherwise, it was pretty okay, I would say.
So you are a freelance success specialist, and I'm curious to get to the exact essence of what you do for a living. I'm going to put you in front of a bunch of grade school kids. It's third graders. It's career day. And one of the children asks you, "Hey, what do you do for a living?" How do you answer that child?
So I would say to that child, I actually help adults. I actually help adults find legit jobs on the internet in simple, plausible terms, to be honest. And I do that through tech strategy and skills.
So what did you want to be in the third grade? What was your dream?
Be a meteorologist, and then I wanted to be a marine biologist, and then I wanted to be a flight attendant. I went through a whole heap of different career opportunities that I wanted to be, but I always had a profound love for business.
So take me back to your childhood, where you were born and raised, and how these seeds of helping people find their destiny. How did all of this kind of grow and evolve into who you are today?
I would say from my childhood, I was really learned to hustle, to be a hustler, to be a go-getter, to always try to make things work, or there's always another way. Like I wasn't taught to accept no. And I just carried that mentality throughout my life. And when I did unfortunately saw financial difficulties, like those morals or values or trainings from childhood came back into play, as in you can't stop, you got to move, you got to find something else. There must be another way. And that honestly is what piqued my curiosity into remote work and finding other remote opportunities.
So talk to me a little bit about inspirations or heroes in your life and your, personal and career journey. Who has that been for you?
Um, I honestly would say God and my mother, another person that well, my late mother, another person I really look up to mentally is Real Talk Kim, Pastor Kim. Um, but otherwise, I don't have like these big celebrities and whatnot that I would say really look up to in terms of really seeking advice and, like aspiring to be someone. I just really turn to God and ask Him to show me who He wants me to be, who I'm destined to be. I try to do everything in agreement with him or like how he sees fit. So I really don't try to like compare or like try to idolize person, so to speak. I really just try to, as we would say back home, make do with what I have, but still try to scale that into big opportunities or lucrative things, that kind of stuff.
So let me ask you this. If you can meet anybody on the planet right now that you find fascinating, who would that be? Who would you love to meet and talk to?
Oh, that'd be Pastor Kim.
What would you talk about?
I'd talk about growing closer to God, success, and business mindset.
Excellent. So what is that motivation for you? What is it that what's the ultimate motivator for you every day to not only help others find their way, but for you to evolve and define your way in life?
I'd say my son, only because I don't want him, obviously, to grow and lack of nothing, but I don't want him to grow up the mindset of that he has to continuously work or trade time to earn money. I want him to be of the beliefs of that he could take stuff that he actually likes to do and find some way to make it lucrative.
So what has been one of your favorite client success stories so far?
I would say my favorite client success story would probably be a dear friend of mine. Um, she was in a really bad position or state, I would say, and financially that would be. She was to her wit's end, and she was living paycheck to paycheck and was about to lose her job. And she had gotten into contact with me. Even when she started, she couldn't afford my services at the time either, but my business was relatively new. So to me, it was kind of like a quote unquote case study. And also another moral of mine is my business isn't only, I should say, solely about making money. I really have in that passion or a deep desire to actually help people coming from a place of poverty or trying to make ends meet. I really, really relate with persons, especially mothers who are struggling financially and really need to make ends meet. But anyways, so she was at her ends meet, and she really needed something else to do to get some extra money and whatnot. And I introduced her to freelancing, and she started. She went through the whole emotions of wanting to give up, not feeling as if she was good enough, not feeling like if she could get this done or this was beyond her or what's not. And she just kept pushing and pushing, and eventually she got a gig. She got her first gig, and now she's in a position where she actually turned freelancing into a business, and she's making, but like she was able to leave her job to focus solely on her business to continue to make money for herself and her family.
So in the world of business, what's your favorite business out there? Like, we look at places like Amazon and Apple and all these other places as examples of really good business models, but is there a business out there that you really look up to and admire?
I would say Bootstrap Creative by Miss LaShonda Brown. And the reason why is because she uses simple strategies. She tries to simplify everything, but while still getting results. Because I find in this day and age, yes, most stuff require a formula or a strategy or a plan to be executed. But what if sometimes we decide to take things on a simpler approach, especially for persons who get ridiculously stressed extremely easily, and like just see how it goes, instead of going like how all of these large coaches always have these formulas and like all these big sale processes and all these big sale funnels. And why not for once let us just try to do something and keep it simple? And of course, you have to put in the work, but instead of over exaggerating things or over complicating things, why not try a simple process? Of course, that was proven, but a simple process and just work it out, work with the artist and see how it goes. So I really admire her business model for that because she really keeps it simple and tries to be extremely stress free.
So speaking of business plan, you always have to kind of look down the road and plan and grow. What is that for you in your business model? What are you looking forward to? How are you wanting to grow? Let's say we talk in 5 years from now. Where do you hope you're at?
And 5 years from now, I would love to be a renowned keynote speaker. Although I'm shy in terms of public speaking, I really enjoy helping persons and telling stories. So I would love to see my brand grow into that aspect of actually teaching trainings and workshops live, helping persons, that kind of stuff. And be actually like being a cause or being a drive for my country and helping persons to find work, find jobs other than the in person or the regular day-to-day 9 to 5 jobs.
So talk to me a little bit about Barbados and what's the business environment like? What is it like to live there?
Well, it's a beautiful country. It's extremely beautiful and amazing. We have great people. The cost of living is extremely high, and there's a lot of persons currently living in poverty or um middle class, so to speak. And jobs are really hard to get here. Well, in-person jobs are really hard to get here. And unfortunately, most of the Barbadians, we tend to think that most stuff online is a scam or doesn't work out or whatever. So our mindsets are very limited towards other opportunities in terms of work aside from the regular jobs here inside of the island, or unless it's a job that requires you in person, whether it's outside or overseas or here, we more tend to lean to those kind of jobs than exploring the online opportunities.
So of all of the things that you've done so far in your career and in your life, what are you the proudest of?
I would say I'm giving back because most of most of the persons that I've worked with, like everyone hasn't paid me a dime or everyone hasn't been a client by the books, but I know, I see, and I can feel the impact that I'm making. And just being able to help someone and help give them a transformation or a transition really helps me feel good as a person. It helps me feel as though I'm fulfilling my purpose here on earth. And I honestly say that as my top accomplishment. My business has been successful thus far, but money aside, I feel much more prouder of being able to say that I actually help persons and help them see results.
So let's say you have a dream tonight. You run into a much younger version of yourself, maybe 16 years old, and you can give that young version of you a piece of advice based on the life you've lived, the wisdom you've gained. What advice would you give your younger self?
I would give my younger self, I would say to don't procrastinate, stop overthinking, and always give people a chance. Yeah,
Yeah. So let me
that's the
ask,
advice.
yeah. So let me ask you this. Everyone out there has a perception of you, family, friends, all of your clients, but ultimately you run the show. What's your perception of you? Who do you think you are?
I would say I am a very relatable person. I would say I'm a listener, I'm a no-nonsense person, and I'm a giver.
Excellent. Tricia, this has been wonderful. If anyone out there wants to reach out, hire you, learn more about you, any of the good business, where can they go?
They could go to www.theremotecatalyst.com. You could also find us on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and on LinkedIn. But on LinkedIn, I'm Tricia Harrison on LinkedIn. But otherwise, you could just find me searching anything regarding the remote catalyst.
Excellent. This has been wonderful. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for your story and continued success.
Thank you so much, and it was a pleasure being here. Thank you for having me as well.
Thanks for tuning in to another famous interview with Joe Dimino, where we cover the world of art, literature, business, spirituality, music, and more from around the globe. Our esteemed theme music was composed and produced by the great E.E. Pointer of Kansas City's River Cow Orchestra. If you want to hear more interviews, visit the Famous Interviews with Joe Dimino channel on YouTube. You can also find us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Thanks again for listening, and until next time.